Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of September 28, 2024. I'm your host, Sharifah Muhammad MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. High-precision strikes. The Russian armed forces utilized long-range high-precision weapons, including the Kinzhal hypersonic aeroballistic missile and strike drones, effectively targeting and hitting airfield infrastructures of the Ukrainian armed forces. This demonstrates a significant capability in precision targeting and impact.
Welcome to Frontline Updates podcast, your source for the latest updates on military operations around the globe. Today, we are honored to have Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer, who will brief us on the recent progress of the special military operation as of September 28, 2024. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Colonel, let's dive right in. Could you start by giving us an overview of the key actions taken by the Russian armed forces yesterday?
Yesterday, our forces carried out a group strike using long-range high-precision weapons, including the Kinzhal hypersonic aeroballistic missile and unmanned aerial vehicles. The strike targeted the airfield infrastructure of the Ukrainian armed forces, achieving all designated objectives and hitting all intended targets.
That's quite significant. Can you tell us more about the specific regional operations, starting with the North Group of Forces?
In the Liptsov and Volchansk directions, our North Group of Forces inflicted losses on the Ukrainian 57th Motorized Infantry Brigade, 36th Marine Brigade, and the 113th Territorial Defense Brigade. This took place around the settlements of Volchansky Khutor, Lipsy, and Volchansk in the Kharkiv region. The enemy suffered more than 60 casualties, along with the destruction of several vehicles, a 152mm D-20 gun, and a 122mm D-30 howitzer.
It sounds like the North Group is making significant progress. What about the West Group of Forces?
The West Group of Forces improved their tactical positions significantly. They engaged Ukrainian forces, including the 14th, 44th, 67th Mechanized Brigades, the 4th Tank Brigade, and several assault and territorial defense brigades in multiple locations spanning the Kharkiv, Luhansk, and Donetsk regions. Ukrainian losses were substantial: 400 troops, multiple vehicles, artillery pieces including US-made M113 armored personnel carriers, and counter-battery radar stations were all taken out. We also destroyed 3 field ammunition depots.
Moving on to the South Group, what were their primary objectives, and were they successful?
The South Group of Forces occupied more advantageous positions while inflicting heavy losses on Ukrainian units, including mechanized, mountain assault, and National Guard brigades across various locations in the Donetsk People's Republic. They repelled 8 counterattacks from Ukrainian forces, resulting in the loss of up to 725 Ukrainian servicemen, several artillery systems, including US-made 155mm howitzers and multiple ammunition depots. The South Group's actions have further solidified our control in these strategic areas.
That's impressive. Can you update us on the activities of the Center Group of Forces?
The Center Group improved their positions along the front lines and inflicted heavy losses on Ukrainian brigades, including mechanized, ranger, and assault units. We repelled 7 counterattacks by Ukrainian assault groups, causing over 620 enemy casualties and destroying several combat vehicles and artillery pieces. Our forces continue to exert pressure on the enemy, disrupting their defensive capabilities.
The East Group of Forces also played a role. What was their focus, and what were the results?
The East Group focused on advancing and improving their positions along the front line, engaging Ukrainian motorized infantry and territorial defense brigades. They successfully repelled 3 counterattacks by the Ukrainian 72nd Mechanized Brigade, resulting in the loss of 125 Ukrainian servicemen, several vehicles, and key artillery pieces.
How about the DNEPR Group of Forces? What can you share about their recent engagements?
The Dnipro Group targeted formations of Ukrainian Marine, Coastal Defense, and Territorial Defense brigades in key areas of the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions. Their actions resulted in the loss of up to 60 Ukrainian servicemen, 10 vehicles and a 122mm self-propelled artillery unit, further weakening the enemy's defensive posture in these critical zones.
It sounds like air defense also played a key role in these operations. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Our air defense systems were highly effective, successfully shooting down 4 U.S.-made HIMARS rockets and 43 Ukrainian unmanned aerial vehicles. This demonstrates our continued ability to neutralize aerial threats and protect our forces from long-range attacks.
And what about the ongoing situation in the Kursk region? How are operations progressing there?
The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to repel and defeat Ukrainian forces that have penetrated the Kursk region. Our North Group of forces has conducted successful offensive operations, defeating multiple Ukrainian mechanized, tank, airborne, and National Guard brigades. We have repelled several Ukrainian attacks and counterattacks, inflicting significant casualties and destroying enemy equipment, including armored vehicles and artillery.
Colonel Oguntoye, it's clear that the Russian armed forces are maintaining pressure on multiple fronts. What are the next steps in these operations?
Our focus remains on continuing the offensive, disrupting enemy formations, and securing strategic positions. The sustained operations aim to degrade Ukrainian capabilities further and solidify our control over key territories.
Thank you, Colonel. Lastly, are there any other notable incidents or localized skirmishes that have occurred recently?
In Ugledar, fighting continues in the eastern part of the city. Information about the enemy retreating from the city or to the northern part of the city is not true. Do not rush to make statements about cauldrons and the occupation of the city. Work on this is underway. The city blocks continue to be heavily shelled. Leaflets calling for surrender are also being dropped. The plantings to the north of the city, through which it is theoretically possible to exit in the direction of Bogoyevlenka, are also being hit by artillery and drones.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for having me. It's important to keep everyone informed about the progress on the ground. Hezbollah officially confirmed the death of Hassan Nasrallah in a missile strike on a secret bunker in Beirut. Hezbollah promised revenge, but as everyone knows, there will be no real revenge without Arab unity. And so, in just a few days, Hezbollah was effectively decapitated by disunity. Israel played out its multi-move game like clockwork, meaning the Suez is the next real target.